Hey folks, Quilly here, and welcome to Let's Try Net.Attack, open parentheses, close parentheses. This is a survivor-style game with a hacking theme. Now, I love survivor-style games. Now, what do we mean by that? You could think of Vampire Survivors, or I really love Brotato. I have so many hours into Brotato, it's ridiculous. And I'm always on the lookout for more of these survivor-style games because I really enjoy them. Now, Net.Attack just hit early access on Steam, and I'm going to say a lot of really great things about it. However, I'm going to caveat that with I can't actually specifically recommend it for purchase currently, just because it is still quite early in early access. There's a lot of content yet to come, and I'm sure lots of extra sort of variety and game balancing things and stuff like that. But I do think it's definitely worth keeping an eye on for sure. This is the main menu over here. There is a tutorial, there's a boot camp, which is sort of additional tutorials / puzzles, and a daily challenge that is available. But let's go ahead and start hacking. There are currently 3 characters available in the game. You do have to unlock Zusul and Hoppa. Only Eddie is unlocked to start off with, and you can see we've got a few more coming soon. I've got to say as well, in the daily challenge, at least the one yesterday, there's also another character that was playable in there that I don't think is one of these, so they clearly have other plans, or maybe it's just sort of maybe a random shuffle for the character, the daily challenge. I don't know what it is, but there's clearly some variety there. Now, in other survivor type games, there tends to be a lot of different characters that you can play as, and a lot of times the difference between them is remarkably kind of small, but has a big snowball kind of effect in terms of play, but usually not that many restrictions. Now, here in Net.Hack, it's a little bit different because the characters, rather than having like little slight stat quirks that change how they play, mostly have just different subsets of abilities that you're going to be encountering. That's where we're going to find more of the variety, which is there's more distinction between characters, I'd say, in Net.Hack than in something like Brotato, for example, but at the same time, it's arguably a little bit more limiting. Like in Brotato, part of the thing is, okay, well, this character gets, I don't know, plus 50% that and minus 20% this. What is the puzzle to figure out here? And here it's a little bit different. And I don't know how that's going to impact replayability, but it'll be interesting to see. So you start off with Eddie, who's very straightforward with lots of kind of pew-pew laser beams, sort of standard stuff. And I did go and clear all the different levels with Eddie, as you can see, and unlock the other 2 characters. I haven't played Azuzel yet, and I played a little with Hoppa, who I think is going to be quite interesting to play, although more difficult. So we're going to go and showcase Hoppa here because I think it's going to be a better way to show some of the differences that might come up with some of the different characters. So we're going to confirm there's sort of 2 maps to play on with different difficulties that are available. I'm going to go for the middle line difficulty here, which I think is also the one tied to the achievements. I don't think currently in the current release, I think the achievement you get is for clearing this Devil 1976 level with the characters. So it's probably a good one to look at. You can see that these 2 first levels, the enemy count and HP is a little lower than the base. Here it's base amount for everything, and then, you know, you get a little bit more punished on those. So it seems like a good baseline experience. All right, so here's what the game looks like. We got this cool little computer chip aesthetic here. I think the idea is that your character is a hacker breaking into the system and wanting to collect some data. But I'm sitting on these chips. I found one of the largest chips right away. The hacking time is quite long. You can see the little blue outline going on here for this large one, but we're going to get a whole lot of data out of it. Let me pause the game for a second and talk about the user interface. Top left bar here, we've got our hit points. Here we've got our experience bar, which we get from picking up these little diamonds that drop from killing dudes. Over in the top right, we've got our data. We started the level with 0 data collected in this level. I just hacked this big chip and got 250 data. Data is our money that we use to purchase things, but it's also the way we progress. There are 7 levels on this run. There is also an endless mode. The daily challenges seem to be about the endless mode. To be able to exit this level, I need to collect at least 600 data here. And it's also telling me there's a total of 1,025 data on this level. Ideally, I would like to collect every single bit of it as possible. I think after a minute, I'm not sure if the game explicitly told us anywhere. One of the things I think that, again, this game is early access, there's a lot of information that, unless I have missed it somewhere, isn't explicitly spelled out, and where I'm having to sort of grok along the way, sort of try to absorb somewhere just through pure osmosis. To be fair, a lot of these survivor type games often lack the specifics of certain interactions and things within the game themselves, and it's a lot of times it's fan wikis and things like that that really explore some of the mechanics and the interaction, and this game is just too new to have this. But it would be nice to have some of the info in here, in particular when we look at Hoppa's primary ability, which is infections. There's really not a lot of context in the game itself for how it works, so we'll see about that. But yeah, so we're going to try to collect this, and we'll talk about how we use the money later on. By the way, my current money is listed down below. You can see here 750, so we started level with 500 bucks, and I just gained 250. Actually, hold on, that's probably enough to purchase something. I'm going to do that now. So if I hit E, we go into a coding mode. So this is very similar to Bioprototype if you played that. But unlike other Survivor games, we're not shopping between rounds. You can actually, or you will, once we escape a level, this interface automatically comes up, and it's also the ideal time to do it. Because when you go and modify things in here, one of the things the game does, I think as an anti sort of cheese thing, is it does put all of your attacks on cooldown, as well as clearing any damage over time, any mines, any projectiles you have in the air, they all get cleared out. With which the starter character, Eddie, not really an issue because all the stuff is basically instantaneous. With Hoppa, this is very painful because a lot of her stuff is about long-term buildup. We're setting up infection stacks, damage over time. Her packets, these are projectiles that can keep bouncing around the level for an extended period of time. She also can lay down mines. And so all that means that if you're resetting the state of combat by opening this in the middle of a level, you're going to hurt a little bit. So this is, again, specific to Hoppa, so you got to keep it in mind. How do these characters work? So the base thing is this on tick over here. This fires by default on Hoppa here once every 800 milliseconds. So 0.8 seconds is when on tick will fire. It's worth noting Eddie has 3 of these basic on ticks with actually a base cooldown of 500 milliseconds. Eddie, very straight up, just shoots a little bit faster, very vanilla. Now, this will trigger up to 3 different connected nodes off of it. So our default setup was this. Note a few things. First of all, so we connected this do. So every time this tick fires, what it does is it then triggers this node, fires infected packets. However, notice the time went up. And the reason is this node here has a 200 millisecond execution time. So now we actually only fire a bullet once every second with Hoppa. She is very slow to fire to start off with, and her hits don't do a lot of damage, especially compared to Eddie. The start with her is a little bit tricky. And so I really want to go and buy an extra hit ability like basically immediately with Hoppa here. So what are we going to do? I can shop over here on the right. I have 750 bucks. You can see the price over here, so I can't purchase the linked mine currently. I might decide to go and hack more chips to get enough to get a linked mine. I don't think we need to at this particular point. We've got a few different options. We're going to ignore select hacker over here because this is not an attack. It mostly just changes a couple of things about the way the game works. What are we going to do? We can pick up the spawn mine, or I can pick up a send packet. Now, this is not an infected packet. This is a regular packet. It fires a projectile at the nearest enemy, and it can hit up to 3 enemies. So you can see here 2 damage, 3 hits. This projectile has like a lifespan measured in how many enemies it hits, right? It'll hit the first person, pass through, hit a second person, pass through them, hit a third person, and then the bullet will expire. These will also bounce off the edge of the map. Now, I think hitting the edge of the map does consume one of these hits, but it means that packets that don't get, don't hit enough enemies still exist and bounce around. And you can increase how many hits these packets live for, which means you can just turn the entire arena into a hell of bullets, which is kind of awesome. You'll notice, of course, that these have both an in and an out. Not everything has an out. This spawn mine doesn't. Some spawn mines might. This one does not have an output over here, but some do. So these packets, on it 25% of the time when they hit, they will trigger something that is subsequent. Again, Eddie, the basic dude, most of the stuff is just on hit, just flat out every time it hits, it does a thing. Here, because these packets do have this penetrating aspect, the 25% hit chance is there, sort of a balancing thing. But especially if we get more and more hits in here, this could fire off a lot. So we're gonna have to decide how we're gonna get extra damage in here. We could get spawn mine, and I could either attach it directly to on tick, in which case every time the tick goes off, my character will poop out a mine where they are. Or I could get spawn mine and chain it to infected packet here. So what would happen is the packet, whenever it would hit, 25% of the time, it might pop a mine out there. That's really interesting. I could also just get the sand packet for just direct damage. I think what I'd like to do with Hoppa, as I feel it really important, you want to stack a lot of infected packets. The reason is, on Hoppa, unlike Eddie, these 2 extra sources of tick only happens on corruption ticks when you have your infection over a certain amount. I need to have 16 stacks of infection, in total across all enemies, 16 stacks before this fires. But notice it fires a lot faster. And this one here fires only if I have 64 stacks of infection. It's still 400 milliseconds, same as this one, but each one of these will fire 3 times. If I can get our stack counter up over 64, whatever I attach over here is going to just spam out like crazy mad, which is going to be awesome. So I think what I'm going to do is use a reroll. You can see we only started with a couple of rerolls. We do get more rerolls every time we finish a level. So I'm going to reroll and hope. Okay, I didn't get another infected packet, although infected in range is quite interesting. It's got a 2 nanometer range and applies 3 stacks of infection, which again, I could have come off of me, or I could attach the infected packet, adding a little bit of an AoE to it. It only triggered 25% of the time, but it's not bad. What I might want to do though right now is just pick up the heavy packet, because what I'm struggling with right now is we need to kill things a little bit faster. Heavy packet does 20 damage and can hit 3 times. Plus, it's going to let me showcase something interesting. So let's say I do this. Couple of different things I can do. First of all, if I go and attach the heavy packet over here, what do you think is going to happen to the on-tick timer? Place your bets. It goes to 500. So the reason is, when you've got something with a branch, only the most expensive branch applies to the base time. The idea is everything fires in sync all the time, so whichever one is the slowest, that's what determines the timer. So this is adding 500 milliseconds. Effectively, this 200 milliseconds doesn't matter anymore. I could have arranged this in a different way as well. I could have arranged it this way. So this way, on 25% of the time, when my infected packet hits something, it will also fire off a heavy packet. But this chains the cost. So 500 plus 200 equals 700. So now I'm only firing every 1.5 seconds. However, this heavy packet might end up firing multiple times, depending on how often this 25% chance procs. I think at this stage of the game, this is the better setup. First of all, it slows down our fire rate a little bit less, and I want these heavy packets going on consistently because I really need to just kill things right now. So I'm going to go back to start hacking, and now we should see 2 projectiles coming out of my character. There we go. I think the one that's sort of greenish is the one that's infected, and the yellowish one is just the normal packet. So actually, before I finish hacking this, I want to see if we can get our first level up. So I'm going to pick up some XP. Okay, one of the things you can get on a level up is you get more data, more money from hacking the chips. We didn't get it here. It's a random selection of 3 from a pool. Some of them seem to be similar across all characters. Some of them are specific to the characters. In particular, so Time Converter seems to be there for everyone. This is a flat out bonus percentage damage. This is not 1% more damage. This is 1% more damage for every 100 milliseconds of node execution time. So for example, if I chain things together to get that 1.5 second like chain, right? Like 1500 millisecond execution time, this would be adding 15% damage to that entire chain. So slower projectiles benefit hugely from this. On the other hand, faster projectiles are just faster, so whatever, it sort of self-balances. I think that's quite of a nice thing. There's up to 10 levels you can get of these various upgrades. It's worth noting at the 5 and the 10 mark, you get way more bang for your buck. I think each one of these adds 1% extra damage, again, per 100 milliseconds, but I think the 5 gives you 5% more per 100 milliseconds. So it's a huge bang for your buck. The packet loss, so this is the hit count, right? All my packets lasting for 3 hits. If I get this, they'll last for 4 hits. I think the 5 on this gives you +2. It's not as much of a change, but still like the more packets, more better. This increases the speed my infections tick, so my damage over time will tick faster, applying its damage faster. I don't think I'm going to be doing our primary damage from the ticks themselves. Mostly I'm going to be using the contagion tick or the infection ticks to trigger my other tick nodes. And I think our damage will be coming from either mines or things like the heavy packet. In any case, I think this is going to be great. So we're going to go from 3 hits per shot to 4 hits per shot, just more lifetime for our packets. It's going to be wonderful. I like that. All right, so we're going to keep going around. Let's see if we can get one more level over here before we hack the chip. There we go. No, so I didn't get the more money one, but that's fine. So here's just more base damage. Now, this is going to be fantastic for us because our packets don't, well, the heavy packet hits very heavy, but a lot of our packets don't hit that hard, but we're going to have lots of them spamming around, hitting multiple times. So adding more damage is, the +1 damage is actually going to be more than +1 damage because we're hitting multiple times per packet. On the other hand, it might be worth getting just more of the hits in the first place. So that's a tough decision. I'm going to do this one first and just get more spam in general. But yeah, I didn't get the you hack chips for more money thing, and that's okay. The game's not that long with only 7 levels. I don't feel as concerned. If I was playing the endless mode, I would feel more. I especially like the more money per chip is really nice on the small chips because they don't give you that much, but if you're adding more flat amount to it, it's pretty valuable. See, there's the data leech. Okay, it's early enough. I will invest in it for the plus 10 per hack. And if you get to the 5, that's adding plus 25 on that one. But I only tend to get it for the first couple levels. If I was playing Endless, I think it would be a much more valuable investment. Let's see if we can get one more level before I hack this one. This guy's annoying. He shoots out a projectile, which is really bad with Hoppa. One of the complaints I have about this game is there really needs to be an option in one of these to lower the opacity of your own projectiles. This is something many of these Survivor games have because you don't really need to be able to see your own packets bouncing around. You really need to see enemy packets coming at you. So I really want that option to be able to sort of make mine invisible. This is a heal that can be dropped. If you do invest in luck, which is one of the things you can get on a level up, then theoretically it increases the drop of those. I don't know what the percentage chance is in the first place. I've done some heavy luck investments, and it didn't feel great, actually. So I'm not sure about that one. All right. Let's just go and do some hacks. After about a minute of being in the level, the firewall will activate, and then you have a 1-minute countdown from that point to GTFO, which we need to get enough data to do that. But again, ideally, I would like to get all the data on the level before I leave. Do a little baby hack over here, another level up. Oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to grab this leech. Especially, it's going to add more value to this one, which is going to be great. I have enough data. I can escape, which is what the green little arrow is. Actually, the little exit is just to the south of us. I don't think this damage affects our infection rates, although, again, we're probably not going to rely on the infection to necessarily get our kills, but I think just the flat plus damage is going to be good. This is more XP per little XP pickup, but in my opinion, this feels very similar to, there's a perk you can take in Fallout 3 in New Vegas that gives you more XP all the time, but the best thing you can get from leveling up is a perk. So you're sort of wasting one of your level ups to level up faster, but there's also a level cap. Now, there's not a level cap in here, but the cost to level up keeps going up substantially. And so it almost feels like there's a soft cap to the leveling when I'm playing here. And I don't like the idea of wasting one of my level ups to just get XP faster. Now, if there's behind the stuff, if you get more value for leveling up than just picking another one of these, then maybe this is better than I give it credit for. We don't have an absolute hit point value here, so I don't know if we gain hit points on the level up. I don't know if I don't think our damage passively goes up on the level up. So this feels bad to me. I might be misinterpreting what this does, or this could be an early access, like kind of weak ass balance kind of thing, but this doesn't feel good to me. I think I'm just going to take the flat damage here, which is going to be really noticeable on my little initial bullets because they really don't hit very hard. All right, there's another hack. Now, there's definitely a lot more data left in here. So there's the luck to get more of the health drops and things. I don't know. Security gap is interesting. This makes it so right now I have a 0. So this right now, nothing special happens when I hack. By taking at least one level of this, then whenever I finish a hack on a chip, everything that's infected is going to take damage. It's 30 plus the number of infected stacks they've got, multiplied by this parameter. So, I mean, assuming they're doing, you know, standard PEDMES or whatever acronym you learned for it. This is going to start, let's say they have 5 stacks, so it's going to be 5 times 2, so 10 plus the 30, so 40 damage they'll take whenever we do a hack over here. I mean, unless they're not actually doing the order of operations, in which case maybe it's 30 plus infected stacks multiplied by the security gap. I suspect that's not the case. This is really nice for some early clearing when things don't have that many hit points. Maybe it scales like crazy. I'm not convinced. Well, you do get a lot of infection stacks later. I don't know. Maybe this is like a crazy good way to get some kills. I think it's worth getting at least one, because that way whenever I get a hack, especially early on, a lot of stuff's just going to die. And that's lovely. I don't need the heal right now. I mean, I'm hoping not to take any damage at all. Let's do this hack. We're getting a firewall countdown over here, and very soon we're going to see, so that's a bad projectile. There you go, there's the explosion from the hack. Very soon you're going to see the firewall. There it is over there, closing in. I really want to get this hack here. We might be able to do the little chip too. The hack is really fast on it. It's a big risk. Here, got it, and it did a lot of killing. Now, you don't get anything from the kills by itself. If you don't pick up the XP, you're not getting the value. I'm going to keep going for these packet losses. I want my packets to continue bouncing forever and ever. I'm going to try to take that heal without taking any more damage. I keep taking some XP. I want to be as greedy as possible before I'm forced to leave the level. Keep farming, keep farming, keep farming. I don't know if I lost health because I went for that. Darn. But there's our exit. Okay, so at the end of the level, first of all, you get a premium node over here for finishing level, and it's also the best place to do your purchasing over here. Now, if I was feeling a little low on damage, I probably would have done one more purchase between levels, but this heavy packet really carried us. That was good. I think here, these for each unit in range creates a circular zone within a radius of 1.5 nanometers, forcing all enemies inside to execute the following nodes. This can lead to some crazy bonker stuff. If I equip it directly to a tick, it'll be in 1.5 nanometer range around myself, but I can also attach it to one of my attacks, in which case it'll be a 1.5 nanometer range around whoever I hit, and then we trigger some crazy chain stuff. This stuff is super cool. I think getting it right now would not be that helpful for us, so I think I'll probably just get another basic attack. I'm going to pick up Explosive Packet for now. Ooh, this lasts for 7 hits. Although, no, of course, they're all lasting for 7 hits right now because I've increased my number of hits. But this will do 11 damage on an explosion. Yeah, fires projectile at a random enemy, can hit up to 7 enemies. After bouncing, it explodes. Oh, after bouncing, so it's got to hit a wall first to get primed. But until then, it still acts like a regular attack. So that seems okay. I think that's going to be really valuable for us early on. So I'm going to pick that up. And in fact, it might be part of our kill procedure over here with the On Corruption. I might be hitting 16 infected ticks already, but probably not. We don't have a lot of source of infection yet. We're going to have to fix that. I'm going to go and wire this to my normal attack for now, which isn't going to increase the time because 400 milliseconds is less than 500. We'll probably make a change over here as we spend some money, though. I love Split. It adds 50 milliseconds. Which, you know, without generating its own attack, but it causes more split branches. And again, only the most expensive branch gets sort of charged, you know, as part of your tick timer. So you can really do a lot more crazy stuff with these splits. And the mines do tons of damage. For each infected in range is really good. Really good. I think it's too early for us right now. I'm going to be a little bitter if we don't see it later, but I don't think I can justify spending $1,000 right now when I don't really have a good source of infection. Kind of weird. I could do a bunch of rerolls for it. I think I will grab the Split as sort of an investment for the future, but not the distant future. I'm going to spend some money on that. Oh, Optimize is the greatest thing. It doesn't do anything by itself, but it's got negative execution time. It's lovely. I was going to pick an Infect in range to start generating some infect, but when you see an Optimize, you have to take it, in my opinion. It's so good. Send Packet. Fires a projectile at the nearest enemy. Yep, deals 3 enemy. So it's just a big damage one, but it's purple. It's rare because it's quite good. Based on what? My infected packet over here does 3 damage, 3 damage. Nearest enemy. And it's 25% execution and doesn't poison. This actually seems really bad. Like, really bad. I wonder if there needs to be a rebalancing. This is cool. Select non-infected. Selects the nearest enemy without infection as the executor. So whatever happens next comes out from here. The select hacker's got a similar thing. You can attach it to another node that fires, but it resets the executor to the hacker itself, so it comes out from you, which is really nifty. This is quite expensive, right? 1,000 money and 1,500 execution time, but it fires 4 projectiles. This is really the thing I want on something like this On Corruption tick. I want these to do the kill, but I need more source of infection. While there's some really good stuff here, I think I have to re-roll to get some infection sources. I was going to say, the problem is I tick this Optimize instead of one of the sources of infection. I'm going to have to take another Optimize. They're just so good. These combines can do some funky things as well, because they can fire once for each input. But I got to take the Optimize. And then I need more damage. I think I'm just going to have to take this heavy packet. Oh man, this is a weird example, but what can you do? Okay, let me just slightly reorganize. I'm going to put this over here and hook it up to the top. Put this infected packet here. Now this is the most expensive one, so that's where our delay is coming in. So it seems like a good idea. If we chain, say, a couple of optimizes over here, we can cut 300 milliseconds off the execution time. So now if I wire it here, this is actually not the most expensive route. This one is here at the plus 400, which I could move the Optimize, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Split over here, which add an extra 50. So what are we at? Oh, it's plus 2. Oh, no, you are really cheap. If I go and bypass it that way, and wait, I didn't do that right. Oh, I did, but it didn't look it. And then from here, if I did this plus that, what's your math? 250. This is the most expensive one, but only at 250. Oh, sorry, I haven't actually wired this in yet. Yeah, they're plus 400. 250, and then if I wire this back in, it becomes more expensive. So I want to do it here, because it's got the discount, so both of these are going to fire these 2 heavy packets at the discounted rate. Do I want to put this in and slow down my entire attack just to get an extra one? I think I've got to. Yeah. So we're slowing things down, but he gets extra shot. And when I move these around, 250. Yeah, if I pull this out, this becomes a 400, which is the same over here. So there's no way. There might be a way, but I'm trying to go fast. I think I can't get it below the extra plus 400. It's fine. I think this is still going to be a big damage addition. I still think this is bizarre for me to not have the... and I guess the heavy packets fire... I don't remember what direction they fire in. Really not getting the infection stuff. On the other hand, we're getting a lot of great flat damage. So I guess there's nothing to complain about there. But it will be a problem because I really need more infection stacks to run this. You can see the current number of infections down in the log over here, which I think is a cool way to display things. Okay, it's early enough. I'm going to keep going to data leech for now. I want to get to 5 and then we'll stop. There's a heal. I guess I could grab it now. I've got a little bit of damage, so why not? More money. I'm going to try to avoid doing a shopping trip in the middle of a run here because I don't want to reset my projectiles, because now with like the 7 stacks each, these projectiles last for a long time and I really don't want to reset them. Normally I don't want to reset my contagion or infection stacks, but in this case it's not the infection stacks that matter because I barely got any. I did get up to 23 there before that big guy died. There we go, more data leech. I wonder if I can get to the level 5 before I do any more hacks. That would be ideal. I'm gonna sort of camp out over here. Of course, at some point the firewall will trigger. I'm gonna try to pick up these XP things. I think apparently in the beta or the demo, there was one of these upgrades that increased your pickup range. It doesn't seem to be in this version. I will say Eddie's got an interesting way to remotely pick up the loot items, which is pretty good. Okay, again, I'm not too impressed by the luck. The damage is... yeah, I'll go time converter here. I'm gonna hold out for one more level up and hope we get the more money for hack thing. And if we don't get it, we're just gonna have to start doing the hacks. Oops! Oh no! My finger slipped off the D key and I hit E instead, which is gonna reset all my attacks. Well, I guess while I've got it open, there's another infected packet in here. Cool. Send packet to infected is quite cool. Select non-infected. We can do some funky stuff with that. I'm gonna get the infected packet here is what I'm gonna do. I guess what I could, if I do this, it's not gonna increase my my timer here. We're still only gonna send out 1 infected packet, but 25% of the time when it hits, and it does do 7 hits now. So there's a very good chance that this will spawn on average about 2 more of these shots. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a delayed thing, but we can sort of think of this branch as sort of kind of each shot being worth 3 total shots. And that'll do. All right. Oh, I should have taken a second to see the positioning before I moved. I'm still hoping to get to 1 more level up. Okay, we didn't get the more money, but we can get the level 5 packet loss fix, which is +2. Yeah, I want lots of these guys just bouncing around like mad all the time. So I don't think we're going to go mines because we've gotten so many extra stacks on our packet system. Last chance for the hack boost. No hack boost. Okay. Again, I don't care about the skill farmer. This might be really valuable for us. The plus damage. Yeah, okay, let's do it. A lot of our packets do very little damage. We've got a few heavy ones, but a lot of us do very little. So the +1 flat damage as a percentage is going to be considerable. Whoop. So yeah, right. When we finish a hack, we do blow up a bunch of dudes. Anyone who's infected gets a bunch of damage. Boop, 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 boop. Do I want to keep going up here or just adding some damage? You know what? At this point, I'm going to say I'm pot committed. I'm going to go and get as many pocket bounces as possible. If I'm not going to get mines, yeah, the firewall is already active. We do have enough. We could escape now, which is good. But I want to try to get more of these bad boys. Thank you very much. Okay, I may not be able to pick up very much XP here. What's nice with the explodey things, even these little nodes, the explodey things and the I get lots of extra flat data, these little nodes become like super nice because they hack super fast. They don't give you that much as a base, but we're adding a bunch of flat value and it detonates a bunch of enemies. Ooh, this big one is worth a ton. Luckily, it's far enough from the firewall. It's a long hack, but I think we're going to be okay. Oh, it's tight. It's tight. It's tight. It's tight. It's tight. It's tight. Yes, I don't think it's insta-death from the firewall. It's just normal damage. And luckily, the firewall is always centered on the exit, so you can't get denied from it. Okay, for node depth. That is very interesting, and I might want to get it just to showcase thing. I mean, another explosive packet. Let's get a 4 node depth. So at the very least, we can talk about it. So how does this work? So let's say we did this. There you go. So this is 4 nodes deep, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would trigger whatever follows 4 times. So it adds 200 milliseconds to the execution here, right? Slows down our rate of fire, but it fires this thing off 4 times each loop, which is definitely worthwhile. Now, we could go and move this to before the split, which I think in this case would be good. We get less depth, admittedly, but we'd be firing, so it'd only be a depth of 3, right? But it would be firing both of these, so we'd be firing 6 of them instead of 4 of 1 plus 1. So we went from 5 total to 6 total over here. And if we can get more of these optimizes and just queue them up in here, oh, it's going to be gorgeous. Okay, we need some more infections. Let's get the infect in range happening. And for each infected in range, I want this, but it's too early to get right now. Should I re-roll for some more infected packets? I think I'm gonna. If packet before is greater than 3, then, ooh, this will trigger whatever follows 3 times. Oh, the infected range. I mean, I don't have anything that can use it yet, although we might be able to add it to maybe this chain. You know what? I'm just going to get an infected range. Okay. And what I think I would like to do is I would like to move this. I don't know if we can pull it off yet. We'll see. To here. So I want this to fire off more frequently because it's got a lower base amount. So this is going to fire off a lot more, but only if there are 16 infected dudes. So what we need to do here is we need to make sure we are infecting more dudes all the time. I guess I'll do that, and this. So around myself, we'll get this because it's going to trigger off ourselves, but also on these little hits. We're going to get a lot of extra little AoE infections. And then when it happens, as long as we got above 16 ticks, this is going to fire, and it's going to fire a little faster than it used to. Hopefully, there'll be a little bit of a startup time, but hopefully our total DPS is going to get stronger overall. And of course, if I had an extra output node over here, I could feed it into this too. And I guess I'm just going to wire this plus 400, so it's effectively free. It's not adding time here. So we'll also fire off some explosive packets out of this bottom thing. So we're going to have to keep track or keep an eye out for our infection rate and make sure we're infecting enough people to make this worthwhile here. So we're at 0. That's going to fire off, and it's per stack, not like number of infected things. There we go. We were over 16 for a second, and then things died, which is fine. As long as we send out one volley, right? There's going to be tons of them out there. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see a bunch of people get infected, and then people die, especially whenever I do the hack, right? Because anything infected right now is basically dying. But that's okay. I mean, if the reason our infected count isn't going up is because people are dying, well, mission accomplished, right? Again, I don't care about the skill farmer and the bug exploit. I'm not sold on. Maybe the bug exploit is good. I don't know. Am I sold on this either? Tell you what, let's go, because I'm not that impressed. I'm going to take the bug exploit here because I probably could use more persistent luck drops or health drops. So maybe because we don't really have another way to heal on this particular character. There is a node you can get that heals. It's like 1% of your total hit points or your max hit points every 3 seconds by default, which is a nice passive regeneration that you can go and enable. Although I don't know if I'd set it up on Hoppa or not. Big chip over here. With these red ones, you have decent hit points, but okay. No, we're getting some good kills. Oh, lots of infected stacks now. I mean, the more enemies that are out there, the more infected stacks we'll get. We actually had enough for a second there, I think, to trigger the 64 if we had that wired up. Not that we do. Boom. Quick hack there. Pick up more XP boosters. You can see the XP is going slower. Okay, I don't want this right now. There's more data to get. I want to be greedy. Now, when I'm on the last couple of levels, and I'm like, okay, ooh, that is, okay. It's a little late, but I want this one because it's the 5, gets you so much extra bang for your buck. So we'll get that, but really I don't want to take more data leech right now because I don't think the payoff is going to be worthwhile. I would rather things that boost my damage. Or possibly survivability with max HP, although we haven't seen that come up yet. I don't know, maybe this character doesn't have access to it. More percentage flat damage, and we're going to need it to be able to kill things. Come on, hackety hack, hack, hack. Thank you. Firewall hasn't started yet, although I suspect it's probably pretty soon. And for all I know, the firewall timer gets shortened every time you do a hack or something like that, too. I assume, kind of from a game balance point of view, it's... Ooh, that was an enemy projectile. You see, like, how much harder it is to see these enemy projectiles with all the visual noise. Over here. When I was reviewing, I did a little test video, a little test recording before this one. A lot easier to watch when I'm not playing, but playing, oh my god, because you're trying to like not hit anyone physically around you. You're trying to pick up these little things. You're checking the timers down here. It's really easy to meet those enemy projectiles. I think there really needs to be an opacity option. I think I'm not going to do, I don't think I need to make the infections tick faster. I'm assuming this lowers their duration, although, you know, kills things faster. I might take the contagion here, so that things die, they AoE around them. They don't spread their existing stack of contagion, but they do spread a stack of contagion on everything that's nearby when it dies. So you can see those little blue circles. That's what's happening when these things are dying. Or no, sorry, my bad. That is our current AoE thing, our infect within range. That's what we're seeing there. But it's a very similar extra little thing. Yeah, I'm going to keep investing in the packet lock fix here. Got 30 seconds left on the firewall. I think we've probably gotten all the hacks. Or at least I've got a satisfying amount of hacks. I'm going to pick up the XP, but I'm going to try to navigate to the end here. We'll take the time converter. And that's going to be... Our killing is going to be from damaging packets. And that'll help there. The mines do work really well, by the way. And there's a couple of different ones. You can tie them up. You can pair them with a node that targets the thing with the most hit points or the most infections and just like drop a mine under there, which is very cool. Like the toughest enemy, just drop a mine under its feet is pretty awesome. But also dropping a mine under our own feet while we're sitting on a computer chip doing a hack is great because it's defending you there. Okay, 4 infection stack. This will be amazing. Execute child nodes once for each stack of infection on the executor. So does not affect the executor. So this doesn't work just directly on ourselves because we don't get infection stacks on ourselves, I don't think. We would, but so you would want to have it, you hit someone. There is a thing that specifically targets something, like I said, with like the most infections. So if the thing with the most infections and then you trigger this on it, and then it'll do this a certain number of times, although only 15% chance per stack, but it could do crazy stuff. We could just pick up the generic for loop here. It does add a lot of time, but it triggers things 3 times. It's a decent send packet here, but I think I will grab this. I don't know if we'll use it yet. I'm not sure. Let's see what else we can get. Okay, we can get another infected packet, which I think I want. And I think what I'm going to do is wire it here. And then do that. And again, I can still add a little input over here if we find it somewhere in here. And yeah, they're all equal cost right now. We can get another infect in range. Send packet to infected. Fires a projectile at nearest enemy. Based on the name, I'm hoping that's nearest infected enemy. And then the on hit fires as a chance based on how many infection stacks are on the target. So as long as this has more than, say, like 12 and a half, so 13 stacks, then it's going to be firing the on hit more frequently than the normal infected packet. It's also got a higher base damage, although it doesn't add its own infection thing. And if it, of course, it has more stacks than that, then that becomes really, really good. The spreading packet's interesting. So it fires projectile at nearest enemy. And in infected targets apply infections to nearby enemies. I don't know how nearby is. If it's only 1 nanometer, that's not particularly big, although it's nice to get some extra spreads. We kind of need some more chains here, though. I think what's going to happen is I think I'll pick up the send packet to infected, and I'll probably add it to this subchain over here. Now, this isn't much cheaper because it was only 50 cheaper, so this bottom chain is going to become the more expensive one by quite a bit. In fact, by quite a bit more that I'm wondering if it might be worth doing this. Obviously, this top chain becomes the most expensive one again by a fair amount. I don't know. That's interesting. Select strongest. So yeah, this changes the Executor to be the strongest enemy out there. I'm wondering about chaining more infected packets in here. Do I want to combine for something here? I'm not sure. I mean, these are nice because they're relatively cheap and they chain. I mean, at some point we're going to be hitting the 64. For all I know, we're regularly hitting this already. I wasn't tracking the numbers. Do I put the for loop in this area? Again, that one becomes very expensive, whatever it is. We could cheapen this. Oh, this did add, because we added this, it does add an extra repetition here, right? We went from 3 to a 4. So this is firing 8 times per. In fact, no, this is times 3, because it's 8 for this, right? Because 4 times 2 is 8. Multiplied by 3 is fingers, toes, 24. So as long as we keep our infection ticks above 16, it's only going to fire once every 1.5 seconds, but it is going to shoot a lot. And then this is going to send a packet to infected. And then from there, it's going to fire an explosive packet, which I guess is fine. Maybe, do I want to reroll? I kind of think we're going to grab this. Now, do I want to make... If I add this in, this entire thing is going to be 200 milliseconds slower. Ooh, let's grab a split, actually. That changes things dramatically. Let's completely redo this. And so we'll add a split. So now we can do, say, for example, 4 of these. Now that's the more expensive branch. Let's do this and that. But it's only more expensive by 50 because this is a 300. And it would be nice maybe to get like a little thing. So I'm having to do the math here of like, okay, this total branch is 300. I don't know if mousing over here. No, that might be nice. If I moused over here and it told me what this cost was, because I'm having to see, okay, this is only 50 more, which makes sense. It's obvious. It's just a split here, but for balance purposes. So I think it's worth slowing us down a little bit to get an extra infected packet. And also we've got more triggering on the infected and range going on now. So this will spread a lot more infections while making this place a lot more. We're going to keep an eye out if we can to see how often we're spending over 64 infection stacks on this level. Let's start with the big one while there's no enemies around, because this is a long time standing around. It's a bigger area, so we can, move around a little bit, but oof, that is expensive as heck. Infection stacks, keep an eye on it for me. Let me know. That's going to be really helpful in real time here. And the infection stack goes to 0 after the explosion. But again, it's fine because that means we just killed a bunch of dudes. Yeah, I don't think we're maintaining, although we are adding more and more projectiles, and they have so much life right now that it is adding up. But yeah, it doesn't feel right now that we're maintaining the over 64 yet. In fact, we're not always over 16. Oh, 41, 43, and then probably back down to 0, or very nearly. It's possible not everything is dying from that, if like there's some tougher dudes. So I'm going to head down, and it is harder to level up now, so picking up the XP is maybe a little less good, but also there's dudes dying all over the map, right? With the way that my projectiles are bouncing all over the map. Oh, that shotgun is crazy cool. The loot isn't necessarily concentrated around where I am. All right, let's keep going packet loss, baby. Let's keep these packets going on forever and just add as much visual noise as we possibly can. There we go. And yeah, if we do see a good concentration of XP, we'll grab it. But yeah, probably having to be a little sensitive to firewall. I like these guys who are all in a row. They tend to chain things in a really nice and sexy way. You'll have to see your stuff trigger all over. There's also some interesting stuff you can do. I don't know if Hoppa's got one of these. But if you get something that's got like multiple inputs and at least one output, you can build an infinite loop that can lead to some really crazy stuff. So this is layer 4, so I'm still going to try to maximize my loot here. Usually layer 6 and certainly layer 7, I tend to just leave the second that I can. Because there's not as many improvements that you're getting at that point. So I think it's like, well, better safe than sorry. All right, let's get the time converter here. Mostly so our killing blows just kill harder. Okay, yeah, the firewall is launching now. And we definitely have enough, but I was going to say there's definitely more chips that we haven't explored here yet. And it would be nice to get a counter here that actually tells you how many chips are still alive on the level, rather than this. Like, if we didn't have any bonus leech, then we would know if there are chips alive because this meter wouldn't be filled up. But because we do have bonus leech, it's a little unclear how much is left. It's also really important because there are some nodes that fire one time for every chip that still is alive. And it would be nice to have that sort of real-time data. Maybe it is. There's a 4 counter down here, although I'm assuming that's what layer we're on. I'm not really expecting another anything yet. Let's keep going. Time converter. That one's plus 5% for every 100 milliseconds. So again, if you're close to a breakpoint, the 5 or the 10, I suppose, then you probably want to keep investing in it to at least there. And then we could decide, well, maybe we'll go somewhere else now. But see, the enemy projectiles, I don't know if you're noticing them. I'm trying to keep an eye on them. It becomes increasingly difficult. Explosive packets, link mine. Now, the second I add a mine into this, there will be a different type of power-up added to the pool from when I level up. That could make it harder to get some others. On the other hand, these mines are really good at killing enemies. And the link mines are interesting because they do damage based on how many of these. So 13 damage per active mine. Not even just each linked mine, just per active mine. Ludicrous things can happen with this. And when you drop it on something like a do 3, and especially imagine there was another multiplier, right? If it was a do 3 leading into a 4-3, and then into the mines, whenever it would trigger, it would drop 9 mines simultaneously. Well, unfortunately, there's a cap. You can only spawn up to 4 mines. But again, just like with the packets, the perk you can get can increase how many mines are in play at any given time. Now, it's 4 mines per node. So if I had 2 linked mine nodes or a linked mine and a spawn mine, they would all have their individual 4 cap. But I think I'm invested in packets, so I'm probably just going to keep looking into the packet tech. So I'll get the explosive packet, which does the same damage as linked mine. So we'll do that. We might look into this heavy packet, another infected packet. We could chain infected packets into one another. Yeah, I think we're going to look into doing this. Maybe we'll get another split. Oh, when we see an optimize, we take an optimize. Although select max infected is quite interesting too. But yeah, see optimize, take optimize is my AI for this game. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to the most expensive chain. As far as I know, it doesn't matter where in the chain this is. It can be at the start, it can be at the end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything. It's just adding minus 150 to the entire processing time over here. So that's good. Oh, we got a 3-way split here? I think I'll just save my money and get that. Possibly to add it to this top bit. Do I want to add it to this chain over here? Wherever I add it, well, that's the more expensive one, so I guess if I add it here, but it doesn't matter. Whatever I add it to is going to become the more expensive one. You know, I think I'm just going to add, I'm just going to add it down here. If I go and fit into here, unless I want to put the explosive packet there. But it's still not the most expensive route. Maybe I'll just put the expensive packet here. So if we get up to 64, then every 0.8 seconds, we really need to get the increased attack speed one, mostly because I want to demonstrate how it works and how powerful it is. It's weird that it hasn't come up. I'm pretty sure it's in the pool for Hoppa. I think we just weirdly didn't get it. But yeah, if we get up to 64, then this is going to fire triple explosive packets every time it triggers. And yeah, I want to pick up this split 3. That's going to be good. All right, let's start hacking. So in wave 5, so I'm not really interested in things that boost my economy at this point. I mean, we're kind of away from that anyway. And I think I will still... see, there's so much visual noise. Ah! I'm just staring at my character and trying to vaguely look at the kind of more reddish looking bullets that are out there to try to spot. I don't like... see, so many of them are yellow. Those are regular damage dealing ones. I would maybe like a little bit more of that. I don't know if they're supposed to be green. They're sort of bluish to me. I'm not sure. I guess they're kind of greenish, slightly colorblind. Because yeah, we're not maintaining our 64 infected stacks. Partially, I think, because we tend to just kill things before they generate tons and tons of stacks of infection, which is, I guess, a pretty good problem to have, right? Like, oh no, I can't put a bunch of dots onto things because they keep dying first. You do realize that means you're winning, right? Oh, okay. But it would be nice to do some combos. I gotta say, Eddie with his super laser beam chain, I didn't want to play him in this video because I thought, oh, maybe he's too basic to showcase some of the true genius of this game. I love Eddie's like chain lightning, forking lightning, chaos thing. I think it's because like when I go and sit down and play like an action RPG, right? When I sit down to like a new League of Path of Exile or something like that, what am I playing? Oh, I'm probably playing an arc lightning build because that's, you know, who doesn't want to be Palpatine, right? Exactly. All right, we'll go and grab this. We already have exceeding the supposed maximum in data on the map. Now we're exceeding it even further. The firewall hasn't started. At the very least, we can pick up more XP, although it's obviously taking longer between levels. Although there's longer between level ups, I mean. There's, of course, more enemies to kill. And more of them are dropping, like, more XP nodes here. Doop. So yeah, I don't think there's more data to get. I have enough. I have 2,600 data. You can see at the bottom of the screen. I see it does say 4 down there. Not 5. Oh, maybe that's my reroll counter. I wonder if that 4 is my reroll counter. Again, I would love a display. Let's see what happens here. First of all, I'm going to pick up the clock, which pauses everything. If I do this, no, I didn't. The 4 didn't change. Yeah, so if there's a place that tells you how many active chips there are on the screen, I can't see it. And part of me thinks that maybe there isn't such a thing. I don't think we need the security gap. We tend to be killing things. If nothing else, yeah, it's fine. I'll take the bug exploit, even though I don't feel like it has a huge impact. We are at full health as well, which is kind of nice. This is actually going really well. But yeah, maybe we can get some more of those freeze times. Maybe we can get some more healing ones if we do end up taking some damage here. Because mostly I'm just going to become increasingly bad at dodging projectiles. I mean, I'm never good at dodging things in the first place, but it's not going to make things easier, the fact that I might not be able to see enemy projectiles at this point. I want to pick that up, please. Yeah, our infected stacks keep going down to 0, but again, I think it's mostly because we're killing things. Oh, there's a little time freeze, which also freezes the firewall, which is nice. I'm just waiting until maybe I got more enemies nearby because it wasn't feeling kind of useless there. There we go. And we're constantly killing stuff that's off screen here, and that doesn't actually give us XP because you need to pick up the XP drops to do it. I'm not going to get the data leech now, and we're going to finish packet loss for an extra +2 packets. So yeah, all of our packets live forever. Greed. Oops. Greed. All right, let's go. Level 6, baby. Just one defensive push might not be the dumbest thing ever. The 4 each infected in range. It's really weird that we're not actually we're not maintaining that much infection. This is a really good node, though. And this is infect in range with a 2.5 meter radius. That's pretty good. These are 2. Same cost. I mean, it's still only 3 stacks and only 1 in. So this is firing more often than this one would, but it's got a bigger radius. And of course, like adding 0.5 nanometer to the radius is a huge boost to the area as a whole. I don't know. I think the idea is we're going to take this, and the hope is like doing something like this, right? And multiplying it. If we get to here, there's clearly a lot of infected people, although are they going to be close to me? That I don't know. What we really want is something that maybe sends a packet to an infected person and then triggers this, because we know it will be there. Send pack. Oh, I wanted to split. That's right. Which might go up here to generate more infections. And get, for each infected. This is for each infected anywhere. For each infected unit, execute the following nodes. It would be great to put it here, because obviously if we're here, there's going to be a lot of infected stuff. Now, the cooldown is huge, and I don't know, one thing I suspect, I think this count is always happening. So let's say I buy this. Maybe we'll do it and we'll just, oh, I don't have enough money. Okay. Maybe I'll just wait then. Unless, no, since I can't buy it now, I think I might do this. But I was thinking of putting it here. It'd be great if it just like sat idle, like the cooldown went down to 0, like, you know, counted down from 3.4 seconds. Well, actually it'd be 3.8, right? If we put this over here, this would be a 3.8 second chain. It'd be nice if it counted down from 3.8 seconds down to 0 and then waited until we hit over 64 and then triggered. But what I kind of suspect is that this is counting down to 3.4 seconds and then checking this, and if it's false, just restarts the cooldown. So it would be a very narrow window. But when it did go off, and assuming we could get the infected count high enough, when this went off, it would trigger 3 times and then trigger 1 time for each infected anywhere, generating a massive spam of explosive packets or whatever we put in here. But I am wondering, especially since I got the split, I think I just need to make sure we maintain more infections. So I'm going to get this over here. I want the infected range, but I think more, I want the optimize. Select max infected. Again, we can do some really cool stuff with that too. Where are we going to put this is an interesting question. Put the split in here, and then there, and then come down here and do this. And, oh, these two are tied in execution speed. So I can't just optimize one, although I could reshuffle some things. Each infected in range. I mean... Hang on. Let's say we did something like fired one packet. Okay, there's going to be a lot of stuff on this node. Let's optimize this chain. And then, so we fire one packet, and then whenever it hit, for each infected in range around where it hit, because clearly wherever it's hitting, there's going to be some bad guys. Now, this only happened 25% of the time. But then, like, go off. You know? Now, this is firing constantly. Whenever this hits, 25% of the time, whenever this hits, this could theoretically hit... I wonder if it would always count itself. So this would always guarantee an execution of 1. That's something I don't know about the timing. Would this always guarantee at least 1 execution? I would hope so, but I don't know if that's true. What if we pair you with select max infected? Okay, which means not putting you in here, not doing this kind of shenanigan, right? If we come down here, right? So here at this point, we know lots of stuff is infected. And then we're going to select something that is explicitly selected. And then for each infected in range, which presumably, hopefully, is going to count itself. At least. And hopefully more things around it. And then do this. Okay, that's not bad. And then I sort of have to rebuild what's up here. Which I actually don't need this split. I think I'll do it. I might keep the split, but then do this. That's the more expensive one. So we saved a little bit on our execution time. So this is always firing. So whenever this ticks, it's going to fire 3 doses of infected packets. These 2 are going to have the AoE. I could still put this packet first. Then whenever it would hit, 25% of the time when it hits, it would then fire off even more of them. Slower build, but generate more numbers. I don't know, I think I kind of do want to do that. So this becomes more expensive branch, but barely more. It only fires 1 packet out normally, but 25% of the time, and it does 15 hits, it lasts a long time, and 25% of the time, it'll spawn out 2 more that do more. This is more of a multiplier. And we still have this one for some basic early infection. This should lead to more total infected numbers, which will hopefully trigger this and do bonkers shit. All right, let's find out. Come over here. Stacks 18. And again, if we don't get up to 64, in theory, it's just because we're too efficient at killing things as is. Now, if we were playing on the highest difficulty, oh my god, because they get more enemies and they have a lot more hit points. Oh, 114. Okay, we got a lot of stacks there. Of course, everything died after we completed the hack as well. All right, we are successfully boosting. What we'd love to see is a lot of the green packs around to do like massive infection numbers. But yeah. Again, I think there's... did I leave anything down here? I don't think I checked the bottom. Okay, no, it looks fine. And to a certain extent, our combo is suffering from success. There you go. What we did, we reached over 100 again, and the screen just gets filled with explosive packets. Okay. Well, I'm going to say, I'm sure there's, like, even more optimization. There might have been some, like... There's probably some sick combo I've missed. Because, A, I don't know all the combos, and B, even if I did, would I spot them? But it's clearly working. Again, I'm going to call what we're playing on right now is... Oh, jeez! Hostile projectiles. Dodge, dodge, dodge. One of these big dudes. There's another one. Okay. At least once I get hit by one, normally I'm like, okay, then I'm ready for the next one. Now he's dead again, so now I'm going to be back into being complacent projectile-wise. What was I saying? Like, oh yeah, that we're playing on normal difficulty, so it shouldn't be that hard, although I don't think I'd beaten this one yet, so... Take that what you will. But yeah, oh, and clearly our combo is working. Maybe there's more sick stuff we could do. Oh, I should just leave. There's no reason for me to exploit everything to the max now. You know what? I'm going to go here because we just got the 5, the big one. If we can get that 5, it adds +4 damage instead of +1 on that tick, which is really valuable. So I just want to follow this line to the exit. I mean, I could farm more XP. It'd be great if one of these guys dropped a heal. We took, what, 2 pluses to our luck? Not really seeing a lot of heals. I guess we're safe for now. I do want to stay near the exit. I don't want to take any tremendous risks. What we're probably mostly at risk of is me being hit by a projectile I can't see because of the visual noise, which might not be a problem for other people. But with my vision AI, there are certain limitations there. And you can see, like, farming all this XP, we're not really getting much out of it. Now, contagion might be worthwhile, right? Again, when they die, they spread the infection. I think they just explode in AoE and do 1 stack of infections to things nearby, which doesn't help if we're killing massive amounts. And might help us reach the higher numbers. I love the big DPS number over here. It's very exciting. I want to get that, or we're 2 points away from getting a bunch of extra. We're killing things fast. You know what? I want this because I just want to see big infection numbers. I'm not convinced. I'm not sure if that's like the prime way to add more DPS overall, but it should lead to bigger infection stack numbers, and that's always exciting. Now when they die, there's a 10% chance that they'll explode and give a little bit of an infection to people nearby. But yeah, so the XP is not coming. I mean, we didn't take any XP boosters, but again, if every level gets way more expensive, I don't know. I mean, I guess if the cost of each level goes up by less than 10%, then taking the 10% boost is a net win. So I don't know. We got to take the good optimize. That's my AI all the time, which might be dumb. Oh, the send pack is interesting because if it only triggers the chain if it hits something that's infected. All right. I don't know where we're gonna put it yet. I don't know that we need more splits. Oh, okay. If packets before is greater than or equal to 3, certainly we can make a chain of those. We don't have one yet. I mean, this is a chain of 3, but it doesn't have a continuation over here. The snowball packet's interesting. So it's just damage, right? It hits, it deals damage, and then each hit increases the chance of targeting the chain, which is bad if your projectiles only last for 3 hits, you know, in a sense. But here they last for so long, they're likely to hit a lot of things, and therefore much more likely to fire off whatever the next thing in the chain is. And there's another packet. Okay, I'll grab this. We'll see what else we can set up. Do I just want to get more infections? We've got a whole extra chain here we haven't touched. I mean, I could put a snowball packet on here that gets an increasing chance to trigger more things that follow. So I could do this. Save. Oh, we're out of money. Oh, this is the most expensive one now. I mean, barely. How expensive is this compared to that? By 100. And that's just by 50. Or I could put it on here. You know what? Let's do this. Cheapen this considerably. Yeah, I'm sure maybe this character can't get the decreased node timer. Maybe it's just an Eddie thing. But I want to talk about it before we end, because the way it works is interesting. So you look at the level up on the thing that I can't remember what it's called, but the thing that's basically your increased attack speed. And it says, you know, it's -5 milliseconds. And you're like, well, that's nothing. We're talking about, you know, 1250 milliseconds over here. Who cares about a -5? Except it's -5 on all nodes. So in this chain here, including the ticks, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, we're this way, 5, 6, either way. 6 nodes in a chain. So it'd be -5 times 6. So it'd be -30 milliseconds. And of course, the same thing, you know, you can keep adding more and more to it, and the 5 and the 10 give you more bang for your buck. It dramatically reduces the time when you've got these big chains. All right, I'm going to set this up. So I'm hoping this snowball packet fires off a lot of the more infected packets. And this is level 7. So all we have to do is get to our hack target and then leave. And then we win. And we're not quite at full health, but we're pretty good. Yeah, infections. I mean, they're constantly getting reset whenever I blow them up here. And then they die to our other effects. And we're not getting huge infection numbers because we're just too darn good at killing everything. This build might do okay on the harder difficulty. Of course, the problem is getting to stage 7 on the harder difficulty in the first place is a challenge. I find that Hoppa has a especially weak early game. It's very challenging because her base attacks are so minimal. Like, they do so little damage early on. So this is definitely... I'm looking at that money. There we go. I was going to say, it's probably going to send us over the total, and it is. So I'm just going to go and bail and win. I kind of think that this game might benefit from having a boss fight or something after you're done the clear to make that last wave feel a little bit more important. Wow, that was an hour-long video. That is crazy. But there you go. So to defeat that, you can double check your configuration at the end if you want. You can just restart if you want. We can come over here. And yeah, we can see our progress. So we just did, which one did we do? We just did Devil over here, which did give me credit on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. So same thing. If we went to this end one, it would have filled in all the rest. And completing these difficulties goes and unlocks things like you needed to do it to unlock the new map, for example, right? This map over here, and that's coming soon, and to unlock characters. So again, I think this game is a lot of fun. I have a hard time outright recommending it on the basis that it is early access and a lot of content is still to come. I think there needs to be a little bit more clarification about some of the mechanics and the interaction between them, which can just come from a fan-made or hopefully like developer-started wiki with some of this information, because some of the information might not belong in the game. It might just, like, you can't have your tooltips be infinitely long with every little things here, but a little separate info thing might be nice, and hopefully that'll be the sort of thing we develop. And I will almost certainly be revisiting this in the future as more of this content comes out, because I think it's spiffy. So again, not sure I can recommend it as is right now as a purchase, although it's not the most expensive thing in the universe, but it's cool, a cool concept, worth keeping an eye on. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.